feeling. I've never done anything like
Good afternoon to everyone out there in TV land or TV world. I don't know what you want to call it. You have just tuned in to the Facts of Life TV talk show. I am really, really excited today, and just with everything that is going on in life, it's good to be able to come here and be able to speak to the public and to empower and encourage them, and to have some amazing guests on here that also can bring awareness to different causes that we care about. So I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in. If take a few minutes, and if you have friends or neighbors or people that get on the phone, call them, tell them they need to sign on today, because the show that we're gonna have, it's gonna be very interesting, very beneficial, and very empowering. And also to people that love to help, it's gonna give you a chance to find out some ways that you can help. So help me welcome my guest, Ms. Bree Jones today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's my pleasure. I mean, when I did the class as CASA, which is court appointed special advocate, and that's what we're gonna be talking about today. I once you came in the class and you were talking about it, I was like, I need to get them out here to talk, put it in public, because I did not know much about it. And once we get into the class, even if some of it was like hurtful and pain to see what children go through and how much these kids need our help, I'm like, I have to find a way to bring her on so that we can let the public know that they can help. So I really, really appreciate you taking the time and driving so far. I
Absolutely.
came all the way from Fayetteville, and you came from
Zebulon.
Zebulon. See, I don't even know where that
That's
is.
south of Griffin. So.
Oh, okay. And I went to Griffin. That's where the office was, right?
Yep.
Okay. So see, we came all the way far, and I think I came from Fayetteville. We're in Atlanta right now, just because we want to bring this information to you. So if you're just tuning in, you are listening to the Facts of Life TV talk show. And this show was birthed out of a need that even I had personally, to be able to empower and encourage our people in our community. So many times, you see all these big TV shows, and people are wondering, I wish I could tell my story. I wish I could, talk to someone and let them know what's going on, some of the causes that we care about. But a lot of times, if you're not this big celebrity, no one even takes the time to listen to you. And I know there are real people in this world, in my community around me, people I work with, people I train with, that needs to get the story out there, not just the celebrity, So then that's why I wanted to bring this show to fruition and just have different guests come on there, and we will be able to share about just different truths and different challenges, and how we can help the public and how the public can help us. So welcome to the Facts of Life TV show. I'm just going to read a little bit about Ms. Bree. On June 1st, 2018, Bree Jones was promoted to Executive Director with Advocates CASA. And CASA, again, is a court-appointed special advocate for children. Bree worked as an advocate coordinator for 2 years preceding her recent transition. Prior to joining CASA, Bree worked with the juvenile court system for approximately 4 years, where she became increasingly familiar with the impact of each child this advocacy has. She later sought out an opportunity to join the Advocasa team, and by faith alone, without question, this program is her true calling. And I can vouch for that, because I know even in the class sometimes we would be talking, and some of us get teary, and right now I'm getting a little bit teary, because it was so close to my heart. And I thank God that I had the opportunity to be able to raise my 3 children, and they were in a home with me. But I know it's really tough out there.
Right.
And even as a single parent, I became a single parent I think like my kids were still not very young. They were young, 10 and 16, but I think I already had that foundation, and I had really great support around me. So, it worked out for me, but we never know how it can turn, other ways for somebody else.
Right.
So I know that is your true calling. Like I saw it in your spirit. I saw when you talked about it and how dedicated you were. So we want to thank you for dedicating yourself to helping children.
Thank you. I mean, no, I love it. It's definitely a calling. I know I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Very good. So I'm going to continue reading just a little bit more about her bio. She has tremendous dedication and passion for this program. She has a heart for foster care children with a mission to cultivate strong relationship with volunteers, agencies, community groups, the court system, and all other working behind the scenes, making a difference in the child's life. She has a determination and an abundance of fresh ideas to grow the number of volunteers and increase the advocates' CASA presence throughout the Griffin Judicial Circuit to fulfill the program's purpose. Reading some of the things there in your bio, I'm like, I'm right with you on that. So where it says you have a heart for foster care children, and your mission is to cultivate strong relationship with volunteers. And that's one of the things we will be talking about today, how people can join the CASA, how they can become a court-appointed advocate, how they can help with community groups, and we work with the court system. So it's a very serious volunteer position, and again, it's not just to volunteer to say I want to volunteer, but to just have a heart for children, because I always believe that, these children, some of them are helpless. And when we stand in the gap to help them, it's a blessing. And that's the reason even for my charity, which is Restore to Empower, is working with the youths, underprivileged youths, or youths that have been in trouble, and also abused women. But my main focus is really the kids, and to be able to empower them and encourage them. So I hope that even people listening today, that they can really, take notice of what we're saying and just be able to reach out and help. And we're going to talk about all the ways that they can help, all the ways that they can support. And we also have the call-in numbers, which I'm going to give you guys this information for now, that if you want to call in and you have questions for us, we will try to answer your questions. And if we can't, we will get back to you. So if you want to call in, the number is 470-251-4343. And there's different areas where you can go for the social media blast. IG, which is LYVETV.status. Instagram, status_network. On Facebook, Status Network LLC. Periscope, status_network_. Twitter, status_network_. So these are, I'm not sure if you guys, maybe can't see it, but if you're listening to it on your phone or wherever you are, these are some of the different places that you can listen to it. And we are encouraging you to, even after the show, to please share this video. That way we can get the word out even more. So we're gonna go right into the show, and I'm gonna ask my guest, Ms. Bree, what is CASA?
So CASA is a court-appointed special advocates, and what it is, it's volunteers that advocate for children who are in foster care. So they are trained. They go through a 40-hour training, and once they complete the training, there's also a background check and things like that, because you are working with children. And once you go through all of that, which you just recently did yourself,
Yes.
So then you get sworn in by the judge, and then this is the juvenile court judge. And then once you're assigned, then you're able to be assigned a case. And when you get a case, you get some children that the children you're going to be advocating for. And then what you do is it's a like you said, it's not just your regular volunteer. It's a major commitment, and we hope that you can at least commit to at least a year. But what you are. Do you want me to go into what you're required to do it here, and I can go ahead and let everyone know?
Go ahead. Yeah.
So once you get sworn in as a volunteer, what you're required to do actually is just visit with the child once a month, and then after you visit with the children, you also are able to interview collaterals, which could be anywhere from your DFACs to your service providers, counselors, therapists, schools, anybody like that, you're going to talk to all those, and we're going to come back to the court and let the court know how the child is doing. And that means in the placement, it means in school, it means in everything. And then we're able to express also the needs and wishes of the children and what's best for permanency to the court. So, and then he normally will take what the CASA report says that they have to submit, and then he'll put a heavy weight on what they have to say before he makes a decision as far as what needs to be done as permanency goes. Or, CASAs can even advocate for things like glasses, reading glasses, braces. I've done that in the past, braces and things like that. That children, they may slip through the cracks a little bit because defects caseworkers are so overwhelmed, and that's one of the things the CASAs come in and they're able to do.
Okay. So what is DFACS though?
So DFACS is the Department of Children and Family Services, and they're the ones that they're the state that takes the children into care when there's a safety issue or there's abuse or neglect going on, and the child comes into care. At that point, families have to. There's a reunification plan and case plan that they have to work to be able to get their children back with them. And we always work for reunification first, and then if that seems to fall through, then of course we can always advocate or move towards adoption.
Okay, yes. And then even I know that while we went in the class, that was one of the main things that some of the scenarios that we had, and as we were trained, that is really to reunite the kids with their family.
Absolutely.
And that's the first thing, but many times that does not happen.
That's
Can you
right.
maybe talk to us about maybe either a scenario where either a child was reunited with their family or it didn't happen for them?
Right. So a lot of the times there's certain issues that have to be addressed before the families can be reunited. And I would say a good bit of the time, the families that don't reunite, it's usually there's a substance abuse issue involved that just isn't getting addressed. And if it goes past a certain time frame, I think it's 15 to 24 months, we can start moving towards permanency in another avenue, which would be adoption. But they give the biological parents several months in time to work their case plan and try to get their children back. We have a lot that are reunified, and we have a lot that move towards adoption. It goes, we probably see more go towards adoption than reunification, but it happens. I've had recent reunifications with cases.
Okay,
So.
Because I think maybe the people might say, well, why would you want to take a child from the parent, and because many times some parents might think, well, I want to do what's best for my child, but sometimes they may be in a situation where they cannot do that, and we have to step in and think, okay, what is best for this child? It's not just what the parent wants, because we do not want these kids to get hurt. We do not want them to maybe even just end up on the streets or just be another statistic. And that is where we have to really, we don't make that decision, but we fight for the kids.
That's right.
That, hey, if they can't speak for themselves, we speak up for them, because it is really what is best for the kids.
That's right.
Go ahead.
That's exactly right. And sometimes it just, the situation, like you just said, the parents, ACASA can also help encourage and make sure the parents are getting the right services that they need. Even though DFACS actually implements the services, we can all get up there and advocate, that the parent may need help here in this area and things like that. Anything to try to reach that goal of reunification first.
Okay.
So.
Good. So, even just as I'm speaking, just in case anybody's out there, listening to us, I know many times even some situations arise where you will say, well, it's not my fault. I just want to empower parents or anyone that is giving birth to children, to always put your children first, to know that some of the decisions that you make, it affects your child. So before you make a decision I don't even want to call out some disturbing stuff, so no one say we accuse them, but if you make a decision to do something that can cause you to lose your child, be very mindful of that. I think just in life, anything that you do is like, okay, if it's something that's against the law, hey, I might get caught, so let me just stay away from it. But when we take that responsibility of being parents, we really have to take that really seriously. And if we as parents can take that responsibility and take it more seriously and say, you know what, these kids did not ask for us to bring them into this world.
right.
We bring them into this world. It's our duty to take care of them and make sure the decisions that we make really protects our children. We would not have that many kids, in foster care. And even I'm going on into the next question, that because I don't remember all the statistic, but you may have an idea of it. I was really shocked, even just in our little area in the South, in
Right.
Fayette County and South, the amount of kids that were in foster care. Can you talk about the numbers for us, please?
In our district, I know, and that's Fayette County, Spalding County, Pike County, and Upson County. And on any given day, it averages about 250 children in care. Spalding County probably has the most of our 4 counties. It averages around 150. But it's a lot of children, and as of right now, we only have enough volunteers that we're only serving about right at 27-28% of the children that are in care.
Wow.
So we could always use volunteers to help, because you talk about it, but until you really get out there and get involved and see how much impact a CASA volunteer can have on a child's life, and how the permanency, everything when it comes to the child. And when you really get involved, like how important and how it's needed so much more out there. So absolutely, we're always open to more volunteers because there's so many children, and that's just our counties.
Yes.
Now, the state of Georgia, I don't know right off my head the statistics, but of course there's Georgia CASA and the website and anything. You can go and see the state of Georgia, but that's just in our 4 counties that we cover.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we'll put the information there, and she'll also give you more information how you can join in later on. But even just, I know when you said how important it is, and how once you get out there and doing the work, you can see how much it is needed. Even if I have not actually sent on to a child as yet, going through the training.
Yeah.
There were days we just cried.
Right.
The whole class was crying because we would see some of the videos and some of the things that these children have to suffer, and to not even have a person that can be with them and help them and support them, to even maybe just take them out to get ice cream, or just listen to them. That's talk right. That no, hey, this is a court-appointed volunteer. This person is my person. This person cares for me. I can tell them anything because I know they're fighting for me. Until I had went through that class, I did not realize how important it is. So that's why I wanted to have you come on board, because you said only 27% is covered. So now we have like a whole, I can't do maths that well, but 70-something% that needs coverage.
Right, and that's right. And like you just made a good point about how they need the CASA volunteer, because it's not just to know that someone else cares, but we've talked about this in class about how their placements can change so often. Yes. And case managers from the DFACs, they can change so often, and then and it comes down to the child doesn't really have a consistent person in their life at that time when it's so needed, other than their CASA volunteer.
Yeah.
Because that one person, no matter where they go, that volunteer goes with them and visits with them and maintains that contact with them.
So it seems that being a CASA volunteer is one of the most important things in the child's life, because like we said, it's one of the constant person in their life. And if we know children, because I know my niece, when my sister moved from Dominica, when she first met me, she kind of was like, am I going to trust you? But once she gets used to me, now when she sees me, she runs to me, she hugs me, she's like, Auntie, I love you, because she sees me constantly. She will come, she'll jump on my bed. The same thing with, at first, when she saw my husband, she would cry, and she was like, nope. But now she's like, he's from Barbados. She calls him Uncle Barbados. and because we've been around her a lot, because she know we care for her, we give her ice cream, she get away with stuff that she can't get away with her mom. Right. She has this bond that she has built with us, that now she trusts us, and she will run to us, and that's what this children need. And one thing that broke my heart was when we talked about some of these beautiful children goes from like more than one foster home in like within a year, like 2 or 3. I'm like, whoa, I can't even imagine sometimes even not having my kids around me when they were young, but to think of this kid, you're in a home for 3 months, and then 3 months
Move
later you're
again.
somewhere else in another place. This is just like this is a lot.
And every time it's just more and more trauma that they sustain. The initial move from biological is, trauma, and then if they're moved again, there's more trauma. And not only that, if they're school age, it affects their grades, their schooling, and that's another place where CASA comes involved to make sure that IEPs get transferred with the children if they go to a different school. There's so much that a volunteer can help with, and the child needs a volunteer.
Yes.
There are case managers out there that care. They really, really care about these children, but they just can't focus. Where a CASA volunteer is usually assigned one case,
child.
and one child or sibling group, they've got 40 cases.
Yes.
They just can't focus on them like a CASA volunteer can, and they make a huge difference.
Wow. Yes, and that's true with the case manager. They are, like you said, they do have like a lot of cases, and we know even becoming case managers, because I remember when I was looking into social work, that it would be a lot of people you care for at one given time. So even having just that one person, it really is important. So if you're just tuning in, we're talking about volunteers. CASA, we need volunteers to help with the with the kids that are in foster care, and we will be giving even more information how you can do that and how you can become a volunteer, and not just volunteer, but how you can help in some other ways. Why did you decide to become a CASA?
Well, as you stated earlier, I was involved. I was in the juvenile courtroom a lot, and that's where I learned about CASA, and I could see how they made a difference for these children. And if you sit in this courtroom and you hear the cases and what these children have been through, and your heart just goes out for these children, because like you said earlier, they don't ask to be put in these situations, and then they have they're the ones that suffer for it. And when you hear it, and you have younger or older kids, sometimes older kids would be even in the courtroom, and when you would see them so upset, and I don't know, my heart just went out, and to see what CASA was able to do for these children, I knew I wanted to be a part of it. So
That's
it
great.
was no doubt that I wanted to be a part.
Yes. So
You've been in the courtroom,
yes,
if you
I
hear
know.
if you're in that courtroom and you hear it, it's just
when you hear their stories, or even just, there was one when I went to the court. I think it was like a few weeks ago. I just wanted to take the young lady home. I'm like, can I just take her with me? Because I could care for her on my own. And I was like, all these ideas in my head that was going on how I could help her.
right.
But so it meant a lot to me that eventually I will find, whether it's a young lady or a young guy, or I'm willing to do more than one once I get there. I guess I have like an age limit, but like I said before, because I work with my organization, kids from 10 to and above, that's the age that I had put that I'm going to work with. But I will take a look at even the younger ones as well, if there's no one that's stepping up and I'm available, because there's a lot of babies as well.
It's mostly babies to school age, elementary school, that type of deal. But yeah, and as a volunteer, we discussed that with you at the very beginning. Like if you have a preference, because everybody does. Not every. Some will take some will take older, some like being with the younger, some like the babies. But that's something as a volunteer we do discuss with you and allow you to make that choice.
Okay. And just like she mentioned, her reason for becoming a CASA, even for me as well. I remember a friend of mine had spoken to me about it, and Beverly over there in Ohio. And we talked about it before, and I did not get all the information, but when she actually got her first child, and she was so excited. I was like, I got my first kid. And I was like, what? She adopted it? Because I wanted to do foster care or adoption as well, but so many different things has changed in my life. Who knows? I might, still do it. Sometimes I envision myself having this big house on a big piece of land, and I could just fill it up with kids and have a program. I've dreamt of that. I've written a plan for that. If I could just take some kids and just take care of them, and maybe God will open the door, I would love to do it, I don't know if it's because I came out of a family of 10. My mom had 10 kids, 5 boys, 5 girls, and it was great. We all get along, and it was good to be able to know that there were people that love us, and we stayed together. So I've had a heart for children, and I think a lot of it I adopted from my mom as well, because my mom, even she raised 10 of us, I think she raised like another 12 to 20 kids that were either her grandkids, the cousin kids, or some kids. I think there was once we had 2 boys that came and spent vacation with them, and then their grandmother died. And I don't know if their mom was in another place, and we ended up having those kids for years, you know. So there were always children around us. So I think I adopted that. But even with my kids, I couldn't even imagine not being there for my kids. One thing, even when my kids were growing up, I didn't let my daughter sleep anywhere. When my boys do, I was always making sure that I was there with them, making sure I protected them. So when I found out that there's so many kids that are hurting, I wanted to be able to help them as well, to be able to, in any way that I can. So that was one of my reasons to be a CASA, is to be a voice for these children, to be maybe a support for them, to let them know, okay, you have a shoulder that you can lean on. You are valuable. That's right. You, because of the choices of your parents. It's not your fault, because some of these kids grow on to think that, well, my parents just didn't want me and it's not my fault, and they continue that pattern. Maybe they end up getting in drugs, they end up doing crazy things. So if we can get them even at an early age, and as CASA, we can instill those values in them and get them into a good foster home. We know that can kind of break out, because that's what we find a lot of times. These kids that in maybe some in the foster system, if they depend on where they end up making the same mistakes that their parents did, because some of them feel like, well, they didn't want me, they didn't like me, and I don't care, and they just live their life in any way. Do you want to say anything about that?
No, I think that CASAs can impact that situation. I think foster families can also be a huge impact. And fostering is great too. Sometimes if you just don't feel that you can foster, that's one reason that's another good reason to come be a CASA volunteer, because you can still be involved and be a part of helping these children. But if you don't feel like at this time you can foster, so because they need more foster homes as well. I mean, this whole side of it, I don't know how. If you don't know about it and you don't know how many children are in care, like I didn't know until I was around it and was in that courtroom. I think there's a lot of people that just don't know. Yes. And if they knew how many kids were in care and right down the road from them how many kids are in care, I think we would have a lot more volunteers involved. They just don't realize the numbers and how often this happens.
It's good that you said, like you say, right down the road from us. Sometimes it could be our neighbors. It could be a child that goes to the same school with your child, And then that's why we have this program today on the Facts of Life TV show, is to bring that awareness. So we are asking you guys, even as you watch that video, to please share it. And it's not just the counties in Fayette County. This is just a small counties, and there's like 3 or 4 of them. But it's all over, because once I started researching this in Ohio, I mean, like every state has a CASA.
That's right. It's a national. There's national CASA, and every state has a CASA, and then they have the affiliate programs. And like in Georgia, we have. I think there's very few counties that don't have a program in Georgia right now, but most of them do. So no matter where you are, what state, whatever, you can be involved with CASA.
Okay, so we're just going to switch it up a little, and I'm just going to give you a few announcements of things that we have coming on. So just as you listen to the announcements, if you want to call your friends or neighbors, say, hey, the Facts of Life show is having some really good information about becoming court-appointed special advocate. This is the time that you can call in while we give this take that commercial break. Okay, so one of the things that we have coming up on December 9th, we are planning a huge fashion gala. So it's a second annual Fashion for a Cause. It's a black tie, red shoes gala fundraiser. So ladies, this is your time to get on that red carpet outfit and to wear your red shoes, and the guys, black tie. and it's going to be really a great night, and it's for a great cause. It's to raise money for charity. Most of the pieces that will be featured will be some of my design. I'll be showing a full African collection. I'll be showing my bridal collection, and then I'm not sure what the second collection will be. And I'll be putting up the first men's collection. So you guys, you don't want to miss that. So we need the models, we need volunteers, we need sponsorship, and then it's fashion, art, and music. My daughter is a professional artist, so she'll be the one that's going to be showcasing her artwork. We'll have the artwork at the place. The art will be available for sale also, and we'll use her artwork and put it on t-shirt. That way you can also buy the t-shirts. And we will be blessed with some amazing music. Orchestra Noir right here from Atlanta. They will be performing. Look at this. This is an amazing band. I mean, I've worked with them for a couple of times. And Jason, thank you. Jason and Keisha, we so appreciate you guys. And you guys are making such a difference in the young people's life, because they also have an organization and they give back to the young people, train them. And I think music is so important. When I sit and listen to them play and to see the look on their faces, it's just amazing. It's an amazing orchestra. So you guys have to come out on December 9th. And thank you, Jade Event Space out there in Norcross. That's where the event is going to be, and for helping us with the space. And I want to say this because I know I live in Fayetteville, and some people might say it's far, but I want to encourage you guys, if you can come out and support. It's going to be on a Sunday afternoon. I make sure it does not impact the church service, so it's going to be like from 3 to 6, so that way you can have a time to go to church and still come out. But we really want to pull 200 people together, and you raise funds for this charity. I want to be able that if we get enough people, we raise funds that we can give to other charities. And there's one kid that's really on my heart, that his mom had died of cancer, and she was a friend of mine, and I really want to be able to bless him with a scholarship. So we really need to raise these funds and just continue some of the project that we have going on. November 20th and 21st, I will be at the Fayette County Library. We're working on a project also where we're going to make blankets for babies that are in the hospital. So the community is coming together, and I'm working in collaboration with the Fayette County Library. And I'm going to teach, whether it's the kids, grown up, anybody can come out to the class, and I will teach them how to make this blanket. And then for the holidays, we're going to deliver those blankets to the children. And finally, if you guys want to advertise with us, you can send me information in info@ligiabrandltd.com, or even as my phone number is 614-402-7034. You can always go back on there and get that information. The number here is 470-251-4343. So you have a lot of numbers and information that you can call. And I want to mention and say thank you to one of my friends who has her own business. It's Amatoras, and she is one of the person that has sponsored us. And Ronke, I just want to say thank you. And her website is www.amatoros.com. So these are some of the announcements that we have. And I want to say, special thanks to Status Network as well for giving us this opportunity. So if anyone out there are looking to have their own TV show, you guys can also, that number I gave you, can call or check out Status Network. And I might gotta take a break because I've been talking like nonstop. So thank you for listening. And I'm going to just ask Ms. Bree to give us information how, if someone wants to contact you, give us the email address, the website. And I think we should have, I'm not sure if we have a clip. If not, we can tell them how they can contact you and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So again, there's if you're not in our district, which is the Fayette, Pike, Spalding, and Upson, you can always contact Georgia CASA, and they have a website. You can go through their website, contact them, and they can even direct you. Or if you Google, I'm sure your CASA will come up, your program will come up in your county. But if you're in our county and you're interested in volunteering, you can email us at www.avo-kidscasa.org. I'm sorry, that's our website. And you can email info@advocatescasa.org if you want to go ahead and send an email. We have a Facebook page. You can follow us on Facebook. Again, that's those 4 counties, but there's any county that you may want to be in, you live in. I'm sure there's a CASA program either in your county or right next door that you can become involved. But that, again, you can always go through Georgia CASA.
Okay, very good, very good. So I'm glad this is like the TV show, and then it's live, but it's also being recorded. It's on Facebook, so that way you can always go back and refer to it. And if you have any questions, there are lots of numbers that we gave to you, or you can inbox me, you can call me. Any guest that we bring on here, we'll have the information so that we can share it with you. Because we're not just bringing the shows this was not just to have a show. It's really to empower the community to get the help that some people need. Like I said before, some people, there's some people that we can reach that the celebrity and the big shows cannot reach.
Right.
And there's still people. There are people out there that needs the help, that needs to know that, hey, there are people out there who care. So that's why we have this show, and just bringing on different guests on there to give you information how you can help with the public. That takes us into our next question. What is our main goal, even as Kaisers?
So, I mean, our main goal is, of course, to be able to serve every child that is in foster care. That, we'd love to be able to serve 100%. We have a ways to work, and I'm sure that goes for all CASA programs. They want to be able to serve every child that's in care, be able to assign a CASA volunteer to every child, to be able to be in that court and present to advocate for that child.
Okay, so how can the people that are listening or that are viewing, or even when they look later on, how can they help? Just give us some of the different ways they can help.
If you want to help CASA and in our program especially, we have Women Working Wonders, which is just a group of women that are able to contribute annually, and we have events for them. At least we try to have 2 a year, and just bring them together to be able to learn more about CASA and things that are going on with the families that we serve and things like that. But that's one way they can be involved. If maybe not a volunteer, but they want to be involved as a board member, we always have board members that we need to grow our board, and they're usually responsible for fundraising and things like that to help our program. And then there's always, you can just donate, and always, or if you know someone that has fundraisers that benefit programs like ours, that we could always use that. I mean, there's many ways you can be involved, and even if it's just in the events that we do, to be a part. If you can't, commit to being volunteers, there's other areas we could use you. So there's many ways that we can always get someone involved to help.
Okay, so thank you very much for that. So if you're out there listening, she's mentioned so many different ways that you can help, but the dearest one to my head is becoming a CASA and being able to work with these kids. So you can become a CASA, you can volunteer, you can be board members, and one of the best ones, you can donate, because we always need money to help keep this program going, because then we have to pay. It's a nonprofit. We got to pay the people that are doing the training classes, just all the different programs, and just a lot of stuff that it covers, because we know there's nothing really in life where you do not use money. So if you guys can donate, you can go to the website, or you can either send me a message. I can get you connected with Bree as well, and give us information maybe when is the next class. And if someone wants to say, hey, I want to become a CASA, what do I do? What's my next step? What do I need?
So if you're interested in becoming a volunteer, we have a class coming up. We just wrapped up a class, which Miss
that was my class. It was cool.
And so our next class, we're going to hold off through after the holidays, because we know everyone's still busy, and really busy in the holidays. So it's going to be probably the second week of January. We don't have a definite date yet, but you can email me, or you can email info@advocatescasa.org. Or you can go to our Facebook website, and we're going to keep it updated, and we'll have the events on our webpage as well, of when the training actually starts. But we welcome you. But at any time, you can go ahead and fill out the application, and then one of us will have you come in, and we just have a little brief interview with you, and then after that brief interview, we can get you registered or signed up for the class.
Very good.
And the class lasts 8 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and it's one night a week for those 8 weeks, and it's usually about 3 hours that night. And so you'll be, you know, 2 months, you know.
Yeah, and it's,
And
I mean,
train.
it's a very empowering class. Even if, I mean, like I said, there was some parts that was hurtful when you watch some of the videos, and
Yeah.
you get aware, you become aware of the stuff that these young children are facing. It can be really hard, but I know I had to push through because I had 10,000 other things doing. But I'm like, you know, I'm doing this for good because I'm
That's
gonna.
right.
This is it's a sacrifice, but it's a good sacrifice to be able to, you know, help this young kids. I'm looking forward for when I get my first child, and to be able to just whatever it is that I have to do to help them.
Right.
You know?
It's a very rewarding
Yes, it is.
volunteer
Right.
position, because when you see that child light up when they see you, or if you're able to get that child those braces or that pair of glasses or something like that they've been going without. I mean, it's a very rewarding volunteer position. Not that all of them aren't, but I mean, it's just you just, when you get out there and you see the impact that you're making on that child, it makes a difference.
Wow. So I guess we didn't have anyone calling in, so maybe I guess you guys can call later. You can email us, and if you need more information again, you can contact, let's see, www.advo-kidscasa.org, or that's the website, or info@advocasakids.org, and you can get a lot more information. And CASA is becoming a court-appointed special advocate for children, and it's a very, very rewarding and just empowering thing that we can do. Let me see. I just have something that I highlighted there. It said we see news stories every day about children taken from an abusive home, or because of the tragic loss of a parent, or illness, or violence, or incarceration. We assume there must be a program or system that will take care of these children and make sure they are treated with dignity, given a safe place to live, so they can recover from their hardship and be a child again. But there is a story behind the story that few people speak about. It is the story of overburdened foster care and child welfare system that, through full of well-intended and deeply committed people, cannot begin to meet the needs of more than 660,000 children in foster care in the United States. My goodness.
That is a big number.
That is a big number. So you can become an advocate for one of these children. So even if this number is big, just one. I remember the story in the Bible that when God talked about going back for that, out of the 90 and 9, he went back for that one. So just think, if I can help just one child, that's all. Because if everybody that can help, well, that one child. And if you're not sure, just call and find out also, because there's a screening that you have to go through. Yeah. And if you're like, I may want to do that, but I'm not sure, after you sit down with an interview with them, then you will know for sure, yeah, I want to do it, no, I don't want to do it. But just imagine these children that are out there and how they need your help. And if it's just for that reason, say, you know what, I want to get more information on that just to see how I can help, or share the video, tell people about it so we can help these kids. And this, for me, I am thankful to God for the opportunity, and you did a really amazing job, you and Katie, training the class and really giving us the information, answering our questions. And even before you became a trainer, because you have children too that you are advocate for. How many of them do you have?
Well, right now, I'm not assigned a case, but in the past I have worked several cases and advocated for. In fact, I just recently had 3 that were adopted. Well, I say recently, but it's been a while. But that was my very first case that I was assigned, and it was 3 teenage girls. And they were adopted, and they're doing well, and I still maintain contact with them. I just saw him last week. I mean, you just, and the adoption took place, I guess, I can't believe it's almost been a year, but almost a year ago. But and that's the part I'm talking about. Like they still talk to you.
Even after that, you can still, yes.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned about you were going, and that's another thing that when we came from the courthouse and we had lunch, that it really touched me because this one kid that had no one to come to his game, and it was like a 3-hour drive, and you and your brother took that drive. I mean, I was like, man, I wish I could do that because I'm sure he was happy to see that someone took the time to come out and support me because they have nobody.
That's right. In that situation, he's a great kid. He's doing great, and no one had been to see him play football. So my brother and I, we rode down on a Thursday night because he's on the JV football team, and about 3.5 hours, and we went to see him. And I'm sure, I've spoke to him afterwards and since then, and he's very thrilled that people would take the time to do something like that. So now he's actually not in foster care at the moment. So
that's the other thing though for me, that even if and I know what time is running out, even going through that class too, now I have a heart for, like, even I already had that heart, but for all children, like like I told my sister, you better treat that child right, because right now I'm a court-appointed advocate. I can report you to the state or something.
No.
Anybody I see around me, I'm watching how they treat the kids, and I'm like, you better be careful around me because I will call in a minute, So whether they're even in foster care, or we tend to just even love them more.
That's right.
And there are kids that they may not be in care, but they may just need to know that people care.
That's
and
right.
for you to take the time and do that, I'm sure, it was really a great blessing. So to our viewers out there, I'm sure, if I was watching this program, I'll be picking up that phone and making phone calls already. So I can't see how after this you're going to get some phone calls. I believe you're going to get some good volunteers. So if you're just tuning in, this is the Facts of Life show, and we are coming to the end of the show. I am your host, Athlene Lawrence, and on the Facts of Life show, it's a show that is open to the public where we bring different professionals on, and this is my dear friend and one of my trainer, Bree Jones, and she's the executive director with F.O.L for Kids, and which is a court-appointed special advocate program. And thank you very much for coming on board. It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to put that information out there. So just if you want to come and be a guest on the show, you can inbox me and I can have all that information. And remember, we have the fashion shows coming up. Also, I will be speaking at, and I'll talk about that next week too, I'll be speaking at Pinewood Studios. I'll be sharing my testimony. I think for the first time it's going to be 30 minutes, and I think that'll be the first time I'll be going into some details. And it's Pinewood Studios out there in Fayetteville, I think Peachtree City. And it's amazing. And they have an amazing breakfast. So I want to invite the public to come out. Usually there's about 200-300 people, so it's really a great opportunity to be able to share my experience with this team. There's actors and actresses, different people in the industry that is there. So come out and hear what I have to say, and continue to follow me, continue to share the video. And again, I just want to thank all our listeners. Thank you for tuning in to the Facts of Life show, and thank you, Bree. And I want to thank my husband also for being a great support to me and really helping me with all these different things. So we are signing off right now. Thank you very much.